Every piece of information that we've gotten in the John Wick films about the shadowy world of assassins has led to another mystery. Fortunately, fans have been coming up with explanations for confusing moments and sketching out the history of the world. Here are the John Wick fan theories that could be true. If you've ever gone digging for fan theories, then you already know that the most common ones, some of which are actually true, are those in which two movies are said to be in the same universe simply because they have the same actor. Theories abound that try and connect Steve Buscemi's Mr. Pink, who escapes at the end of Reservoir Dogs, to his role as Carl Showalter in Fargo, where he's not so lucky. And you can find dozens of other theories for dozens of other actors and roles. John Wick is no different, although there's a surprising amount of convincing evidence that fans have come up with to connect it to the Matrix. The theory imagines that John Wick is an identity given to Neo years before the events of the Matrix in an attempt to balance and correct for Neo's underlying desire to get out. In the Matrix, that's obviously getting out of the computer world. In John Wick, it's leaving the shadowy world of assassins behind for a peaceful civilian life. By putting obstacles in John/Neo's way, the Matrix is able to keep his focus on escaping within their false reality so that he doesn't try to get out into the real world and bring the whole thing down.
You, working again?
No, just sorting some stuff out.
It's also worth noting that the connection between the two franchises isn't just Keanu Reeves. One of the two directors for John Wick, David Leitch, worked as a stunt coordinator on The Matrix Revolutions. Are we grasping at straws here? Maybe. Or maybe this rabbit hole goes even deeper. All we're offering is the truth, nothing more. It's difficult to think of the reality presented by the John Wick films as, well, reality. It's a world where hundreds of enemy assassins connected by a secret network of text messages are lurking around every corner, where people can have gunfights in a crowded public place without anyone noticing, and with fashionable suit jackets that can stop bullets. And, you know, there's all those Mushroom Kingdom gold coins floating around too. If all those things made you feel like you were playing a video game while you were watching John Wick, you're not alone. Nearly every review and article since the movie's release has mentioned the film's obvious video game-inspired action. But what if that's actually the point? What if this is actually supposed to be a video game? Much like the Matrix fan theory, this one is mainly an attempt to explain why there can be so much violence on screen that regular bystanders and real cops only occasionally react to. The idea does have some legs. John himself does actually make an official licensed appearance in a video game, Payday 2, and an actual John Wick game was released in 2019. If this fan theory is true, that pretty much automatically makes John Wick the first legitimately good video game movie. Our apologies to 2005's Doom, starring Karl Urban and The Rock. Better luck next time. The world of John Wick is defined by its rules, including debts and obligations that seem pretty impossible to refuse. One rule stands above all though. No matter what the assassins are offered and what's been done to them in the past, they have to treat the Continental as a violence-free establishment, or else.
You know the rules. No business can be conducted on these premises lest incurring heavy penalties.
We see what happens to those who don't play along in the first film when Ms. Perkins violates a Continental's well-established policy. After the bounty on John's head is doubled for anyone willing to break the rules, she gives it a shot, trying to take John out while he's injured and successfully eliminating another assassin, Harry. By the end of the film, Ms. Perkins is sentenced to a permanent end, with the judgment carried out by a squad of 4 people who surround her in all directions. It's a quick scene meant to illustrate the price of crossing the line at the Continental, but the air of tradition around it was very intriguing for fans. One fan theory supposes that the Death Squad is, like much of the wider assassin culture that we see in the third film, more ceremonial than practical, and based on centuries of tradition. The reason? Because if it's not one of the elaborate rituals we see throughout the series, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to surround someone on all sides and shoot them. There's a very obvious reason that firing squads here in the real world don't stand directly in front of each other and then fire at someone in the middle. So the only way the scene makes sense is if it's actually based on an older tradition, likely one involving blades instead of bullets. If it was originally done as a ceremony with swords, then adapting it to the modern world with guns seems a little more logical, especially when you consider what we see in Chapter 3. Not only do we find out about the long history of the assassins and their formalities, but we learn that somebody taught John to be pretty good with knives. One of the many strikingly strange moments in the John Wick franchise comes when we see the inner workings of assassin bureaucracy, and find out that it's mostly secretaries typing on absurdly outdated computers. It could just be an unexpected visual flourish to add some flavor to an otherwise boring scene, but one fan theory makes a pretty compelling argument that of course the assassins would use the outdated tech. It makes their information virtually unhackable. Although it's never been explicitly confirmed in the films, it seems pretty clear that we're looking at some very interesting information security. Modern computers might be faster and have more capabilities, but it's pretty hard to use a MacBook to hack a Commodore 64 and a bunch of hard copy paper files, especially when they use rotary phones and pneumatic tubes instead of the internet. There's definitely some connection since we see all those texts going out, but from what we can tell, the heavily tattooed administrators are keeping things on an old-school lockdown. Check out one of our newest videos right here, plus even more Looper videos about your favorite films are coming soon. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell so you don't miss a single one.